I have the pleasure of thanking you for coming to MPI TechCon and introducing your presenter today. Phil Hamstra is the VP of Strategic Initiatives at Meeting Tomorrow. With 10 years of hands-on experience in AV, computer, and meeting software, Phil is an emerging thought leader in event and meeting technology. He is passionate about finding ways to transform the live meeting experience, and as the head of Meeting Tomorrow's Innovation Division, he spends almost all of his time experimenting with the new and existing technology to bring new products and services to market. Phil has helped manage over 50,000 successful events with Meeting Tomorrow, including every type of AV setup imaginable, international webcast broadcasts, massive iPad and technology deployments, and custom software development. As a proud member of Gen Y and General Nerd, he brings a fresh perspective on how to reach and engage people using technologies that appeal to all levels of savvy. Welcome, Phil.
Thanks very much, Phil. I appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for coming. I'm really excited to be here at TechCon this year. I've been going every couple of years. I see new things every time. I'm a local here to Chicago, so it's especially fortifying to me that all of us here in Chicago put this on and that we can kind of be one of the centers of this. So as Troy mentioned, I spend pretty much all of my time working on new and creative solutions for Meeting Tomorrow. Meeting Tomorrow is a nationwide audiovisual company. We did about 10,000 events last year. We'll do more than 10,000 events this year. All around the country, we do lots and lots of different things. And one reason that we're able to do that is because we spend a lot of time focusing on bringing new things to market. So we've gone from being a pretty small AV outfit to being, full service, nationwide, whatever you need kind of deal. So after last year's TechCon, I was speaking with a guy from Intel. The guy was giving a presentation on the future of meetings, and he gave a very, very clear vision of what meetings are going to look like in 20 years, 10 years. And everyone in the room agreed. Everyone said, yes, this is what they're going to look like. And I grabbed him afterwards, and I said, so how are we going to get from where we are right now to there? And he looked me right in the eye and said, I have no idea how we're going to get from where we are right now to where we need to be because it's hard to adopt these things. Meeting planners are some of my favorite people. They do the opposite of what I do well. They plan things. They get checklists done. They make sure it's 100% perfect every single time. I'm out flighty looking at stuff, reading blogs, and going to conferences, and they're making sure everything is perfect 100% of the time. So taking on new technology is a new risk. It's a thing that is hard for them to adopt. It's kind of behind the cycle. So what my goal here, although I would love to give a talk on trends and a talk on big thinking and the purpose of meetings, all those things, I'm instead going to just try to show you entry-level things. If you are using meeting technology, if you are trying to find a way to bring it into your meetings, but it's hard to take that first step, I'm going to bring you a slightly different perspective. I'm bringing you ideas. Some are going to be probably mediocre. You're probably going to say, this is dumb. Why is he showing us this? This doesn't work. Some of you are going to say, yeah, I already have a solution for this. But that's why I have 10 trends that we can use. I'm also going to try to do something a little different. I'm going to try to use Twitter kind of for audience engagement. So if you have a burning question, I believe that meetings are about interactivity and not necessarily one-to-many communication. So if you've got a burning question, raise your hand, shout it out. I fully encourage that. If you have a question that you want me to answer via Twitter, use MPI Ask Phil. Go ahead, just ask a question on there. And then if you use Twitter, you can actually search for this hashtag, and you can see what other people are asking. And you can maybe respond to their questions in advance, those kinds of things. I've got this galaxy right here that should be able to show me questions as they come up. If that doesn't work and you really want to ask me, please shout out, raise your hand, do your bidding, do whatever you need to do. Any questions so far? No? Okay. So we're going to move through this. I'm using Prezi versus PowerPoint. We're going to try to hit all 10 if we can, but again, please feel free to interrupt me. What I'm trying to show you are you know about the big stuff. You've seen the big stuff for a long time. Here's small little ideas that might help to do it. So driving and visualizing social media. You saw there's a Twitter wall out there. You guys, who here's used a Twitter wall in their events, right? Who's not used one but wants to maybe? Anybody? Yeah, a couple people, right? Here's 3 easy ways to do it for almost no money. You take no risk, easy to do. VisibleTweets.com, it's an unmoderated, anything that gets put up there goes on the screen. It's free, you can customize it with branding. That costs a little bit of money. It's got 3 different visualizations to choose from. 2 of them I really like. One of them, I could take it or leave it, but, personal taste. Another one that I like is Live Tweet app. This is actually this is a British company. This is a moderated version. This is if maybe you're playing this for a brand and you want to choose what tweets actually show up on your board. This lets you go in, you search by hashtags, search by mentions, whatever you want, and then you can go ahead and pay $40 more if you want to brand it, make it custom again, 3 visualizations. The one we're using outside today is called TweetBeam. Because I'm always learning new things, I didn't know about TweetBeam before yesterday. TweetBeam is pretty cool. With all these, there are free versions, and then there are more business versions. You pay a little bit of money, you're good to go. So I have one weird idea that I'm going to throw out to you guys, because part of it is to see if you guys look at me like I'm crazy. So I love the idea of social photo booths. I think that when we're doing meetings, it's about creating a conversation. If we're doing social media, we want to have a conversation. We don't want to have an advertisement. We don't want to have one-to-many. We want to have many-to-many. So social photo booths are great. Right now, you can go ahead and hire your standard photo booth guy. Maybe they have some fancy thing. I'm going to show you something weird. I'm going to go back to this. I apologize that I am iPad heavy because I think iPads are great and versatile and the ultimate audiovisual device. Got everything you need. So here's an iPad. It's in a frame called a Padcaster. You have a Padcaster. You go into Twitter. You take a photo and you say, okay, I've got my backdrop. I've got whatever. Good to go. You tweet at them, and you say, thanks so much for coming to our event. Not only have you created an engagement with that person, not only have you seen that person with a picture, you've also created instant content for your Twitter wall. I got to say, though, if you're taking pictures and you're using iPads, use an iPad 3. Camera's a lot better than the iPad 2. The iPad 2, mediocre camera. So I also have some kind of quick hit thoughts. So this is kind of the format of the presentation. There's quick hit thoughts about it. Your hashtags should always be visible. What's the hashtag for this event? MPI TechCon, right? They've done a good job of putting this everywhere, but I don't see it in this room, right? I don't know if I'm tweeting about it. I can't remember it. A lot of times they're really complicated, kind of weird hashtags, right? You should probably have your hashtag everywhere that you can imagine. Any piece of signage, you want to have that. If you're really trying to do social media, it's got to be somebody's job. It's going to be somebody's job to manage that social media, and it's somebody's job to respond. Again, people want to have conversations. They don't want to just receive information, especially to people who are upset. If someone tweets, hey, where's my lunch, and you don't have someone who's paying attention to that, then they're going to be upset. They're going to be more upset. They're going to keep tweeting about their lunch. Everyone's going to see it. They're going to hashtag your thing. That's not going to be good, especially if you've got an unmoderated Twitter wall. Another thing that we can do, I don't think we always think about this strategically, is it's really easy to write tweets in advance. You could be surprised if you sat down for 20 minutes how many 144 character things you could spit out, how many different links you could do. And then I could use something like TweetDeck to manage it as I'm going. And I see a lot of people trying to manage it from their phone or tablet. If it's somebody's job, I highly recommend that they're using an actual PC so that they can scroll, do things quickly, write things quickly, get links out there. You can actually schedule your tweets to go out. You don't have to remember to do it while you're doing it. So again, we're going to keep moving. Event apps. I'm going to go quick on this one. I know we've heard ad nauseum about event apps today. Right? We know about the big guys. We know about our quick mobiles and our double dutches and our C events. They're great for big events. They've got tons of features. These companies have a lot of experience doing this now, and I've watched this kind of go over the past 5 years from something that was kind of hard to use or not always reliable to really, really great. These guys put out quality products. There's other guys out there. There's other options. Apps for Events is a little company I like down in Florida. They do a good job, a little bit lower price point than the big guys. And if you're really ambitious, and I don't recommend this for everybody, you can hire a dev house. They can make pretty much a clone of this. You could own forever for like 10 to 15 grand. So if you do the pricing and you look at that, it's not a crazy idea. There's other ideas too. If you don't know anything about this, if you're afraid to make the big investment, you can learn the vocabulary. You can learn kind of what it's about. You can try this out at smaller meetings with a couple options. You've got places like EventMobi and Zwar where you can kind of design your own app and put it out. And one thing that I really like, and I really am encouraging this not to replace these big guys or replace your big fancy app, because I think that's very important. Skeb.org is a free service for, you can create a mobile app for your event. It's about the easiest thing you can do, the core stuff, your speakers, your bios, your schedules, get people registered, all that good stuff. $200, you can have it branded. For free, it says Sked all over it. And for $2,000, you can get it to be a native app. And it's relatively easy to use. I really want people to start using it. I think every meeting should have some sort of app that they can use. I want this to go to full, total adoption throughout the world. Other thoughts I have on mobile apps, quick ones. The mobile apps are great for small events or events where you know that you've got the Wi-Fi contained, you know that you're going to have good internet. Mobile apps are great. If you're doing something big with a lot of content, a lot of stuff that's got to get pushed out, you really do want to go more to that native app. About your lowest that you're going to get for a native app is about $2,000 with SCED is what I've seen out there. As far as design goes, I believe, and this is maybe because I'm oversaturated with technology every day, that less can be more. That if you make sure that the core functionality is right, that people can say, where am I? What do I want to see? What did I say I wanted to see earlier? And that they can stay connected. You're going to have a pretty good experience. All the other bells and whistles I like and are super cool, and you can actually do a lot with them. But if you're going to do more of that integration, just make sure you leave yourself enough lead time. You don't want to come into this at the last minute. You can make a mobile app in about 30 minutes if you really put your mind to it and have tried it one time before. But if you're trying to do a lot of stuff, leave yourself that room, leave yourself that time to really test out that integration, make sure it all works well. And finally, this is something that's confounded me forever. Make sure that searching this app is easy. If you've got 300 exhibitors at your trade show, why would I need to scroll through them all in alphabetical order to find the person I want? I can Google everything in my life. I haven't had to remember any facts for like 10 years, right? You know, I've just been Googling stuff that I can remember. Make sure that they can search it like they search everything else. And this again, is coming from the oldest millennial that can be. We don't know how to remember things. We don't have any time, right? We just want to search for stuff in a normal way. Most apps have this. Not all of them do. Just double check that. Audience engagement. So although I'm a technology guy and I am a self-admitted geek about this stuff, I think that audience engagement is really about having compelling content, compelling people, and compelling conversations. So technology, to the extent that you use it for audience engagement, is really about driving the behaviors that you want to lead people to do what you want them to do, to lead them to think about the things you want them to think, to learn the things you want to learn, and to learn from others around them. There's a lot of different ones. You know, you guys have probably seen. I missed the hand thing this morning. Did anyone see that? Was it cool? It was. Yeah, I know. That's like the best. I wish I would have thought that 5 years ago, because I've been integrating slides into PowerPoints for a long time. Is what it is. So there's a couple ways to kind of engage people, I think, with technology. The first is kind of the bring your own device, BYOD. We've all seen that acronym before. These are usually lower cost things. You can do question and answer, surveys, you know, a little bit of conversation, a lot of text stuff. But you're usually only going to get about 20% participation out of your entire audience on these things, because there's so many barriers. They have to know how to connect. They have to have an internet connection. They have to connect to it. They have to know what they're doing. So you have to have lots of instruction. You have someone who stands up there and says before everything, now you guys remember how to use this thing, right? You know how to connect, right? Here's what we're doing with it so that works. There's great solutions out there. Conferences.io is one that I've had some great experiences with at meetings. They're here in Chicago. I'm sure they're here at this conference. I'm trying to use Twitter. I don't know if it's going to work, right? I'm up here pushing experimentation, so I don't know if people are going to use it, but potentially it's a great way to engage people socially and then to also make additional connections later on. Pull Everywhere is kind of one of the standard ones. Pull Everywhere is a thing that integrates into PowerPoint. You can use Twitter. Go with it. You can have people log on to a mobile website. It's been around for a long time. They do a great job. And finally, Wufoo and Google Forms. So I'm going to go back to these things because they are free for the most part. These are easy to create forms online that you can give people easy links to. You can put them in whatever web page you want to, and you can get their information. Because half the time, what we're trying to get them to do is give us their information or get a survey out or something like that. These are two easy ones. I have little paper surveys up here that I would love if people would fill out and give me feedback. This is not as cool as a Wufoo thing. If I gave you a Wufoo link, maybe everyone would do it. The other kind of way to do this is to provide devices. So I'm not just saying this because Meeting Tomorrow has thousands of iPads in stock and we're ready to deploy them at any time. Provided devices give you a couple advantages, a couple disadvantages. One is it is usually patently a little bit more expensive. But I like this because it gets people off their phones and off onto another device. They're addicted to having a device in their hands. Why not give them one that has everything you want on it? You get a lot higher participation because you've given them something, you've set it up in advance. You still need to do a lot of training and coaching on how to use these things right. You have to kind of design your meetings around them. The other advantage is you can kind of preset it up to all the networking. You've got a bunch of barriers you can remove if you're providing the devices. There's some solutions out there. Nice Meeting was here last year. They're a little bit under the radar. These are things like slide sharing, right? When I want to do additional things besides just question and answer, I can do slide sharing. I can do additional question and answer. Nice Meeting is cool because you can do it on a totally local network. You don't need to be connected to the internet. Most other solutions need something like that. EventPad is a company that has been around for about a year. They're a full-service thing. It's like an event app combined with iPads that they hand out. They help you run your event. It's a great little audience engagement, especially if you have a kind of a high-end meeting, or if you have or if you have like a smaller group and you really want to collect data on everybody. They do a great job. SlideCloud is an online business one. They have great metrics. It's good for slide sharing. You can do all these things with bring your own device kind of things, but they don't seem to work as well as when I give you an actual device for you to use. WebEx is one that people don't think about. So I could very easily have slides that I'm doing here. I could have a WebEx link that you could all be logged into. I could give you all a WebEx iPad. You could see all the slides that I'm pushing as long as I have internet. And you also have the audience engagement portion. I can ask questions on WebEx. We've all been in WebExes. We know we can work that way. It's kind of like a weird version of a virtual event. I'm using virtual communication to actually create like a live kind of world. And finally, clickers. Remember the clickers, the little clickers thing? Before the hand thing. The hand thing is awesome. But clickers still work, and they're probably your least expensive option when you're providing a device. They actually, a lot of people use them a lot, like Turning Point is kind of the classic one. I don't hate clickers. You'd think I would. No, don't hate clickers. They're fine. The hard part about this, and I think the barrier to people using this, is that you have to design your meeting around it, right? A lot of barriers of technology are about meeting design versus the availability or the ease of use of technology. So you have to be intentional about it. You have to have kind of a champion that's there. You have to make sure your presenters know how to use it. If you're doing a bring your own device solution, maybe have a couple people wandering around that if people raise their hands and they can't connect, can go over and help them. A couple young, like some 12-year-olds maybe, that you find on the street. And this is a question. I have not yet experienced an amazing integration within an event app. With an audience engagement tool or surveys I've seen done very well, but I haven't seen a way where I could walk in here and get on this, like get slides, get content, or interact with the people in this room. Did anyone have that? Has anyone seen that? If someone makes it, will they tell me? Because I would love that. I want to find that thing. I should ask too, like in this room, who in here are planners? Who are meeting planners? Oh, that's so great. I'm so happy. How many people are like suppliers or kind of work to support the media industry? A lot of people seem to be both, or else I just can't say. I wish I had that hand thing. I could really tell. That's good. We got about 50-50, right? So we're all going to hear different things. We're all going to see different things from this as we're going. Reliable Wi-Fi. So this is, when I talk to people, this is kind of the underlying, thing that you need to be able to do anything with technology, because we know we can't rely on cell phone signals. I don't know how a cell phone signal is in here. Like upstairs, I couldn't make a phone call. And there's nothing worse than run out of that. So in my experience, and this is actually something that I do, so I know a little bit about it, there's internets and there's networks, right? People understand the difference? People understand the difference between internet and the network, right? The network is kind of your access points and what goes on locally. Your internet's what's outside. It's almost never a problem with the internet. It's almost never a problem with the pipe that's coming into your venue. It's almost always a problem that they don't have enough access points. They have old access points. They're constantly making new versions of this. It's hard to do. But Corbin Ball is a guy, like people know Corbin Ball more or less, right? You guys know his, right? Event Tech, right? We have a hashtag Event Tech, Corbin Ball. Corbin Ball with Jim Spellos and Quick Mobile came out with a great site survey checklist. If I was going to write a book for meeting planners, it would just be called Checklists. And it would have checklists of everything you need to do to get your event just right. You can download this for your iPhone. It's called TechSpec. It used to be like a Word PDF or a Word document you downloaded. Now it's this great online thing that gives you everything you need to do for you or an agent of yours to go do a site survey of your venue, find out the connectivity, make sure it works really well. There's also lots of great articles, Corbin Ball, articles, technology. Because I'm vendor agnostic, I get to promote all the people that I like and know rather than my own company. So excited to promote him. If you do not have good enough internet, if you need solutions, here are some companies that you can call, right? They all do a little different thing. Trade Show Internet, good little company out of, I think they're out of the Bay Area. They can do everything from shipping you a hotspot to doing a full consultation to these big things like Xerius. They start with an X. You use them at like Lollapalooza. They look like a blimp has landed and they're like this big. If you need something a little smaller, there's a company 4G for Rent. The 4G for Rent is like the company that supplies people like me. You know, like when we don't own stuff, we call people like 4G for Rent. They have lots of MiFis. They're very good at it. And they're one of the few companies that actually can rent out iPhones. So I don't know how often this comes up, but you can, if you need an iPhone, either as something that has a data plan or something that's just, just the app function of the iPhone on Wi-Fi, they're one of the few companies that does that. If you don't have internet in your venue, I know that getting out of hotels will be wonderful. One barrier is that we don't always have an internet pipe in there that we trust. It is easier than you think to call up Comcast or Time Warner or kind of the local ISP and have them say, okay, come out. I need internet at this place. I need it for this long. There are options in pricing for that if you call them. There's companies like me who do this. eTech Solutions out of Florida does a great job of this. Meeting Tomorrow can help you out with this. They can kind of do your full service, and they can go from what's your problem to here's your solution. We're deploying this Meraki mesh network or a Ruckus thing or all these words that are kind of gobbledygook, but mean a lot to us in the industry itself. And finally, if you really are in a pinch, if you call a local integrator, somebody whose job it is to install Wi-Fi networks at places that they do, they can also do your event, and they will do a pretty good job. Their customer service is a little gruff sometimes, but generally, I found them to be a good partner, helpful in this regard. Some quick hits, right? We've all tried to get in the Wi-Fi here, and we know that there's a gateway we have to go through. So why not have two things? Why not have the free internet that everyone can have the free Wi-Fi, and then why not lay over another network and charge for it? You can create a gateway that's very easy for people to make payments for, and most setups like that. Why not have the two-tier? Net neutrality is dead, we all know, so why not just get on the bandwagon? As a rule of thumb, if internet is mission critical, and I don't know when it's not, if you have an access point in every room, you're good. If you don't have an access point in every room, you should be a little mistrustful. These air walls, I don't know if there's an air wall or a concrete wall. If it's a concrete wall, I can't get internet upstairs at my place. I don't know why. Building's made of concrete, I have a bad experience when I have disconnection anxiety. It's a symptom and a disease that I hate. But I hate it, and I remember it, and it makes me upset, and it's one of the main things I remember. Don't let your people get disconnection anxiety, especially the young people. They don't know what to do. They don't. They really don't. And finally, if you can, I know that you always can't, but just like with the Twitter hashtag, put the Wi-Fi info everywhere. Just plaster it all over everything. Don't expect people to remember what it is. Don't have it on signage out there that you might move around. Just put it everywhere. It will help people out. We want people to have good experiences and be able to use all this technology that we're looking at. So interactive signage, there's lots of different interactive signage. When I'm talking about interactive signage, I'm, of course, talking about how we can use iPads rather than spend money on a big touch screen and get a lot of content created. It's easy to make content for iPads. There's lots of ways to do it. You can mount an iPad really easily to any surface, pretty much. You can get an iPad kiosk. There's millions of them out there. I'm using Prezi. If you don't know Prezi, if you get Prezi on a touch screen, you can just kind of touch these things, and it moves around, right? And you can zoom and zoom out. And Prezi takes very little time to learn how to use. You put it on the local iPad, and all of a sudden I'm able to go through different parts, kind of explore your event, find out different things. It works pretty well. If you have an app that you want to show off, you guys heard of Padzilla? You guys heard about this? Anyone heard of Padzilla? Right. So Padzilla is like an iPad, but it's a 70-inch touchscreen. So especially if your company is your client's a technology company, they have an app they want to show off. Padzilla is a great way to get the iPad really big. It's actually one of the only ways to create. They've got some proprietary technology to create the experience of using an iPad on a standard touchscreen. I've also seen iPad kiosks be used in an interactive way for media or viewing stations. Right? Maybe I have some extra content I want people to see. You put a pair of headphones in it, it's good to go. I've seen this a lot in retail. Another thing you can put on iPads are just PDF maps. People know how to zoom. Everyone knows how to use an iPad. That's what's great about them, right? Everyone understands this. I just walk up, I zoom in, I look around, I can see what's going on. Rather than I could have maps everywhere, I could publish them, I could have them on the apps. But if I have them there and it's like, where am I? And there's a little sign that says, where am I on your PDF? That's kind of a compelling idea to me. Quick hits on this is interactive signage using iPads or using any other type of kiosk, using any type that allows you for really great passive lead capture, especially if you give them something for it. It's another great. You can also use it to do session sign-in if you trust them to come up. They can scan their barcode, scan their QR code. There's different softwares that do this. You have an event app. Why not just put the event app on an iPad so that people can just see everything in case they ran out of batteries or they want to just see what's going on? You've already created all this content. You already know where it is. One application I like is filling out a survey to see a video or see a piece of content. People will do this. There was just a great frontline on Generation Like. People will give you almost any of their information if you give them something that they think they will watch. And especially if I want them to drive behavior, if I want to promote them to do kind of social sharing, if I have a way for them to do maybe a tweet station, right? I've said, okay, tweet about my event, take your picture, put it on Twitter. I've created that kind of conversation, and then, of course, I'm paying attention, so I respond to it. On-site check-in. So on-site check-in, I replaced another thing I had here because I've been in this for the past couple weeks. On-site check-in, as we all know, can be a big pain with big lines. It can be expensive to staff. I have a lot of printing. I have to get the badges in advance. I have to do all this stuff. So there's a couple ways to do this. If you have a small meeting, like maybe you have like a pharmaceutical meeting that, with 20 people in it, you just want to get people to come in and give you their name, right? You can get that pretty easily. Use something like a kiosk or an iPad, pass it around. Use Wufoo or Google Forms. They'll give you the things. There's an app that just came out called Envoy, which is the most elegant check-in app I've ever seen. It's made for like checking into buildings rather than checking into events. It could also print your badges for you, which is great with a little Wi-Fi printer. I like that one a lot. It's relatively inexpensive and probably the most elegant non-check-in thing you can do. You can't like upload all the people you have. You can't like link it to Eventbrite or see and all those things, but it works well. And if you are collecting registration fees, I don't know why you would use anything but Square. They came out with a product called the Square Stand. If you're scanning tickets, you're scanning items, you're selling anything, it's twice as good for the credit card swipe. It's like $100 at Best Buy. And you can print receipts. You can do all these things that you can do with the standard point-of-sale system. I know that one big trend, at least in the event marketing world, is we want to start actually selling things instead of just promoting things at our events, right? So this is a way to kind of do that relatively easily. If you need a full solution for on-site check-in, where you are trying to do a kiosk thing, get people out of the lines, get the staffing down, both of the, Cvent, which is a big thing that everyone uses, just came out with an app called On Arrival that you can put in a kiosk, that you can go ahead and have people print their badges right there and then if they're new, they can register. Wouldn't that be nice, not having to do all that paperwork and type it in? You don't have to use the back end of Cvent. This one I think maybe only came out in the past month or two. But it works pretty well. If you're using something like Eventbrite or as a standalone, I like Boomset. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Boomset. Boomset is a similar kind of deal, right? It can do your ticket collection. It can do all of your credit card processing. It can do all that, run your website. Boomset's about $1 a person if you want it, and you can then show up with a bunch of kiosks and a couple of floaters walking around like at the airport rather than a big long line. And if you've got 1,000 people, you know how big those lines can get. One of the limits to these is that they print like black and white little Avery labels, not big things. So if I want to still have a color, if I want to still have the branding, if I want to still have my full awesome badge, it'd be really easy for me to print a bunch of awesome badges in advance, then have everyone register on site, and then go ahead and print a little sticker and put it on there. Now, if the aesthetic of your event doesn't work for that, there's other printing options for that work with both of these apps. Either way, you're going to need Wi-Fi ready to go if you want to sync the data up to your Cvent thing. But especially with like Cvent, Eventbrite, those kinds of management things that have a great back-end solution, here's a way for you to get out of having people type into their PCs. Here's a way to have people just come in and get their stuff. I do believe that you want to avoid color printing on site. It takes a long time. It's very expensive. When one of your color drums runs out, it's a real bummer to have to replace it. There's not great ways to color print little badges. It's better to print those all in advance, I think. Kiosks versus floating helpers versus long lines. This is kind of something I mentioned before. We want to have kiosks going, but we want to give people help because people don't know what they're doing. For the most part, they do, but sometimes they're going to mess up. They're going to have questions. You still got to have people power there. But I think a lot less people, and I think this ends up going a lot faster. And another thing about registration, again, I haven't seen this, right? I'm putting this out there to you, is I never remember to print it. Printing, who has a printer, right? Like printing a ticket, like remember my QR code, trying to find it on my phone. That's been tough for me. If I could register, and if you need to verify it was me, I could have some sort of security question that I could answer to verify it was me. To me, that would be a lot simpler. I'd be happy. I wouldn't have to talk to strangers. I could just be ready to go. Has anyone ever seen that? Has anyone ever seen like registration using security codes rather than ticketing, like physical tickets? Right? I don't know why. Again, call me when you find it. Charging stations. We talked about disconnection anxiety. The number one cause of disconnection anxiety, aside from bad connectivity, is lack of power. We all use our phones at these events twice, 3 times as much as we normally use them. They all run out of power. Everyone's got like a tablet and a phone, and then another tablet, and then their other cell phone, and their BlackBerry from 10 years ago. A couple things about charging stations. So I know how charging stations are made. So you could do it yourself. You could go to monoprice.com. I'm mostly telling you about this because Monoprice is where you should buy all of your cables. It's like 1/8 of the price of Best Buy. Don't buy cables at Best Buy. Buy them at Monoprice. You could go to Monoprice. You could buy a bunch of chargers and power strip. You could find a container at the Container Store. You could put a wrapper around it. You could put a sponsor by sign on it. That could work. But that doesn't really get you the aesthetic. That doesn't really get you the professional polish that you want. There's lots of companies out there that rent these, that can have them for your events. GoCharge is one out of New York. They have 5 or 6 different options. They ship it to you. I didn't bring the GoCharge I have today because it's about 30 pounds, which makes it hard to steal. Has little lockers on it. You know, it's great. It was raining. I didn't want to deal with it, right? So Smart Source has ones. They're usually a little bit taller, right? They have a lot of signage on them. Power Tower. The value proposition of these is not the power that it provides, but that you can use it to actually promote and push content out. And what I really want to challenge people to do, if you're using something like this, is don't just give them an ad. Give them a thing to interact with. Don't say, check out my great product. Instead say, if you appreciated the charge, tweet thanks at my product to enter my contest, or drop your business card right here if you don't have Twitter to enter my contest, right? You can kind of drive interaction that way. You can drive a little bit of gamification without having to get a Flash developer to help you out with that. If you really want to help people versus just deliver them a message, maybe put the charging stations in the breakout rooms where they're sitting still for like an hour. That would be great. That's when I am at the most convenient time to charge my phone. I know it might disrupt the meeting. If we had one in here and you guys had to get up and go get your phones, I would be fine with that because I don't want you to have disconnection anxiety. I think that almost any meeting where you're over 4 hours, you should probably have a charging station. Again, I want you to think about driving interaction, driving conversation versus advertising. And just a quick thing, if you get sold on a rapid charge solution, that's not a real thing. There's no such thing as rapid charge. There's only worse charging, right? Like I don't have the right thing. I don't have the right, I plugged into the wrong little wart, and I don't have the right voltage going on. I should also say, if you give me your business card, if you will leave it up on the table, I will share this Prezi with you. I'll email it to you so you can come back and see it anytime you want. You can click around it, see how great Prezi is. More than happy to do this. That's one of the great things about Prezi. It's a social platform more than it is a presentation software. Wow video displays. Wow, so I'm an audiovisual guy, right? I love wow visual. I'm talking about like big things like that giant video wall out there that's got the great augmented reality thing. I'm talking about big curved screens, 4K, 8K, these ultra HD things that are just coming out. Things that are curved in different shapes, 3D, which I don't know if even that's happening anymore. But like really big video walls. I'm partial to the iPad video wall. It's a fun little thing to do. You can create a different experience using that. But the problem with these is that content's what drives them, right? You get the wow from the content. The reason that video wow there is cool is because of the augmented reality content that's going into it, not because of itself. We get a lot of clients at the last minute calling us and say, hey, so we want to do like a 14-foot video wall for this event. And so, okay, what's your content? It's like, oh, we're going to show sponsor logos. I'm like, oh, don't spend the money on the thing for sponsor logos, right? Get your content early. There's a couple things about these. Is that they are hard to find. There's not a ton of them. There's not an infinite supply. LG just came out with a 146-inch like 4K TV. They just debuted it at CES. I don't know that you can find that for rent. I know there's only about like maybe 200, 103-inch plasmas in the country. So you've got to find your thing first. You've got to make sure you have a supplier. And then get your content person involved early because your supplier is likely not going to be any good at content, right? They like gear. They like delivery. They like execution. They're not magical artists who can bring your vision to life in an amazing, interactive way. So make sure that you've got these things together. And if you're thinking about wow, think about the content and the big display device working together. Reporting and metrics. So reporting and metrics is when I think I was looking at the top 10 trends. They had like this Twitter contest, top 10 trends for me, and like I think half of the people responded, metrics. Metrics are going to be the thing that drives the future. Metrics is what everything's about. The problem is that metrics are really hard, and I know this because I've spent about 8 years trying to do the metrics for my own company, right? They're hard to do. They take a lot of planning. They take a lot of execution. There's a lot of data sources for meetings, though. I mean, this is real. This exists now. I can get from my social media. I can get it from my registration software. I can get it from my event app behavior. I can get it from my audience engagement stuff. I can get it from my geofencing, my session attendance, virtual behavior, lead capture surveys, and finally the dollars and cents, what comes in and out from each person. Bringing all these together is extremely difficult. It's hard to bring these together and show real value, which is what we really want to do with metrics. So if you're already pros and you know how to use Excel and Access, and you want to bring it to the next level, software out there called Tableau. Tableau is, you pay for it, you get an internal license. It's a great way to bring a lot of different databases together if you're really good at that. If you don't know what you're doing, but you want to do it, you can hire a company to help you. Epiphany Metrics is a company that can help out. Barry Analytics is here at this conference right now. They can help you figure out how to do this. They can tell you, with Cvent, you should get this data. With these people, you should get this data. And also just push on your tech provider to give you the metrics, to give it to you in a good way. Make sure you're getting the information, not just getting access to their website where you can get it when you want it. The big thing I would say about metrics is it's really, really hard to measure something that you aren't planning to measure. So if you're going to talk to a company like Barry Analytics, get them involved early. Get them involved to help you plan out how you're going to measure, how you're going to show the ROI, how you're going to make it work, so that you can actually produce what you want to do. Because looking back in time at numbers is really hard to find anything out. And if you want to focus on stuff, just focus on the stuff that's got money attached to it. Don't worry so much about the social media engagement, although that's really wonderful right now. I don't know that we know how to assign money to that. We know how to assign money to exhibitors, how many leads they get, that kind of thing. When I'm measuring, it's much easier to measure quantity versus quality. So focus on things that say thousands, right? When I said, when Troy introduced me, he said, Meeting Tomorrow has done 50,000 events over the past, 10 years. That's true. That's a big number, right? It'd be way harder for me to give you a metric like Meeting Tomorrow has had a 97% customer satisfaction rating on those 50,000 events. That'd be harder to do. So it's way easier to work on quantity than quality. And remember that you've got all these different buckets. Make sure you've got some sort of key between them that's the same, like maybe an attendee name or a company, something that is identical in all of them so you can link them all together when you're finally doing your big analytics. If you're not ready for this, that's okay, but I think the meeting planners are going to be able to show a lot more value if they do get good at this. I think this is worth investment of time, investigation, and maybe a little bit of money. Hybrid and virtual. So hybrid and virtual events I like, but I like meetings in person better. I like all the people in this room because I'm pretty sure that the value of this meeting is not me standing here one to many telling you something, right? I'm pretty sure the value is that every person here has a different perspective. They're hearing something different. They're seeing it from their perspective. We've got planners, we've got suppliers, lots of different industries. We really want to bring it together and create a conversation. When I'm doing a hybrid event, I really want to make sure that what I'm doing is encouraging the conversation, which is actually easier to do in a virtual environment than it is in an in-person environment sometimes because really gifted facilitators are hard to come by, I believe. You need to know about three things if you're going out, right? You need to know about platform, you need to know about gear, you need to know about the people that are going to support you. If you want the easy version, I'm going back to my Padcaster, right? I could have an instant virtual event. I'm going to go ahead and click on my live stream app on my Padcaster. I'm going to point it at me. I'm going to press the button. And right now I'm creating a hybrid event. I'm streaming right now out. I can't see what I'm doing because usually you'd have someone standing there making sure it's good. But right now I'm streaming out to everybody. I've got audio. It's hearing me through the speakers. I've got video. It's putting it out there. I could easily put this. I can also record on this, post it to YouTube, be ready to go. So this is my hack version. This is my easy version of doing it. If you want to try it, try something like this that doesn't take a lot of risk, doesn't take a huge amount of investment to get right, doesn't take a lot of planning to get right. You'll learn a lot from trying something, you know. I was trying to use Leap Motion, right? It's not working. This is this little gesture thing, right? You guys have ever seen this thing? It's awesome. It's not working. But I tried it, right? I was upstairs for 20 minutes working it. It was great. I was all practiced. I spent like hours practicing with this thing because it's really hard, which is the other thing about event tech that you try to use. It's kind of hard sometimes. And now it's not even working. And it was very frustrating. But unless I told you, you wouldn't notice that I messed up. This is the great thing about experimenting with little incremental things to bring you forward in technology, right? We want to get to what that Intel guy said in little baby steps without taking lots of risks, without sacrificing the 100% quality of our event. If you want to do full service, there's lots of companies that can do this. Sonic Foundry, it's in the back, big ups, right? They're out of Madison. They do a great job. They've got all three of these things, which is what you need when you hire a company. They've got a platform, they've got the gear, they've got the people to help you support it. In Expo is another company out there that does a lot of these. VidTech, I think, is probably here. I think they're out of the western suburbs. It's not purely local. I really think that these are some of the better national companies I've seen do this. And, of course, me tomorrow, we do ad nauseum events like this. So if you want to know about webcasting, if you want to join my webcast later, I'm happy to do this. I should say, I don't use this for my professional webcast, right? This is not what I would do. But I would love it if I could, because it's a way more elegant solution than lugging around 15 cases of gear and trying to get everything connected. When I think about hybrid events, I also think about why are they only one way? Why am I doing hybrid events where I'm taking an event, I'm broadcasting out to all these people sitting in their computers? Why am I not doing the reverse, right? Why am I not bringing the presenters to you? Why am I not creating a virtual presentation? Because I could be a video, right? I could be a video up here. I don't have to be a person. I could create a video. You guys could watch it. And then you guys in a group could actually discuss it and get all the value out of this meeting, which is then cross-pollinating all the different ideas that you've heard amongst each other. Now, please don't. Please invite me to your event. I'd love to speak there. But we do a thing at meeting tomorrow where we put on a TED Talk for 20 minutes. We bring people in for lunch. We put on a TED Talk. We spend 45 minutes afterwards discussing it. That's a virtual event to me. That's a hybrid event, right? We've created an event, but then we've used technology to bring one of the parties in, and we've created great engagement and the kinds of insights that come out of there that are so unexpected and wonderful. I think this is a great way to do meetings. Smaller groups that can actually talk to each other rather than do this. And also Bob TV. Have people checked out Bob TV? Right? Yeah, it's cool. If you haven't checked it out, look at it. Right now it has tons of great content and videos about meeting planning in particular. So if you have, God forbid, a meeting of meeting planners sometime and you need to give them some great content to drive discussion, that's a great place to go. It's been trying to launch for a long time, but just came out this year. So if I'm doing either one of these, if I have a virtual aspect, right, just like with social media, it has to be somebody's job, literally their only job, to engage these people, to have conversations with them. Again, conversations, not one way. I'm not just tweeting. I'm tweeting back at you and saying thank you for your tweet. I'm not just asking a question. I have someone who's on the other end answering me, right? There's a real person there. We're still going people to people. It's not just nameless self-promotion. It really does need to be someone's job. I heard a great presentation on someone who was so nervous about it, and they ended up having a great experience because they made it their job to sit at the computer and actually make sure all the virtual people were happy, because they could tell the people in the room were pretty happy, or at least were present. But they knew the other people were happy because they were having all this great conversation while the event was going on. It was amazing the amount of content that was created, the ideas and questions that came out of that without the speaker ever even knowing about it. If you're doing any kind of recording, right, even if you're working with wonderful people like over at Sonic Foundry, make sure you get a copy of it and make sure that you're creating a YouTube channel for your event with all the videos of all the great things you did. If you need an easy way to make video, here's one. And then just throughout the year, just put it out on social media like it's a new thing, because people won't remember what they watched. People, believe me, they have no idea about the things that they've seen. You put it out there. You keep an ongoing engagement going. People love to click on videos, especially on Facebook. They love not so much to click on the Twitter links for videos, but they certainly like to click on them on Facebook. And if you have an email with an embedded video, you have a significantly higher likelihood that someone's going to click on it. If you have it on your website, people won't click as much as if they get in their email and they liked the event or had an impression of the event. You can use your past content back to promote whatever's coming up. And again, create conversations. I said conversions. You should convert people, right? You want to convert them into customers, convert them into a number of different things. Not lectures, right? Although I love lecturing, I want to have a conversation. And to that point, I really do want to have a conversation, so I have made this quick. And I'm done with my content up here. So I'm wondering if anybody out here has a question, has an insight, has anything they want to talk about, anything that they've heard, any refutations of anything that I've said. I'm listening. No one, guys? We haven't created any new ideas? Has anyone seen anything that they want to use? Yes? Okay, throw one out. Pad. Yeah. Yeah. Well, what's great about the Padcaster is that it has this little thing right here, and it's like I'm selling this, right? It's like I should own stock in this. I have this little thing right here that lets me actually adapt on a wide-angle lens or a zoom lens, so I can use it for a lot of different. I can pretty much see everybody in this room right now, and I can also mount kind of the way that it's designed. I can mount like a shotgun mic on the top of it, or I can integrate audio from the speakers. If I had another microphone to pass around, I could do it that way. So you can really capture a lot of people. Yeah, I think I've got 95% of the room captured right now. Absolutely. So you have to get one of those. Adapters, like I forget their names, but it's like a little thing that plugs in that has an input, because if you plug the microphone right in, it won't recognize it and also let you hear it. So they're like $100. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Anyone remember what these things are called? No? I promise you, they're out there. If you look up iPad band recording adapter, this is what comes up, because this is what people use who are like recording in their house. Anyone else see something they want to use that's not the Padcaster? Padzilla? Yeah, Padzilla, Padzilla.com. You can Google it. It's pricey, right? It's pricey, but it's super cool. And I have yet to, and I have tried. I have tried for many hours to replicate it. I've not been able to crack how they do it. It's kind of a mystery to me. I've never seen anyone else do it. But Padzilla is a super cool way to get people to use your app. How expensive are the iPad walls? So the iPad walls are less expensive than full video walls. You can rent, it depends on whether you need an iPad wall that shows a big video, or you need an iPad wall that is just a wall of iPads that's got maybe different content on it, or maybe a couple of them are like photo, you can use like the native photo booth app. Usually you rent an iPad for about the same rate that you would rent it if you're using it like as an iPad and not as a wall. And they're about 9 inches by 7 inches, or 11 inches by 7 inches. So in the end of the day, it ends up, we did one for Quick Mobile not too long ago that was 4 feet by 6 feet tall. And that was significantly less expensive than a video wall. You have to set it up. You have to get the content right, because you've got a lot of bezel, right? You've got a lot of space in between, because iPads obviously have like a lot of space around them. So you got to get moving content. You got to get stuff that works well. There's also an app called the Matrix that you can put you can actually just create like a more like text scrolling across or a picture moving across. If you want to do like a full-fledged video, that's a little more complicated. Proudly, I don't know anyone else who does it. I like doing it, but it's not the easiest thing in the world. But yeah, there's a pretty good option. If you go to Me Tomorrow's website, we have examples of it on there. So, anyone else? Any other questions? The Twitter thing didn't work. I tried to do that. I tried to leave motion the Twitter thing. I was actually using a streaming app, and my Wi-Fi ran out in the middle of this because my IP address got kicked out. Yes, sir. If I didn't have disconnection anxiety right now, I could tell you. I think they do. I think people feel if they have a way to ask a question with text and they don't have to put themselves out there by standing up and putting themselves in front of everyone and potentially getting a look from the person up here, I think they are much more likely to do it. And I think if you give them a very easy way to do it, that they generally will. Hopefully, I've been so entertaining that everyone here has put their phones away and has forgotten all about it, and no one had any time to tweet because they were so enthralled with this wonderful Prezi with no pictures and all text, which is the opposite of what you're supposed to do with Prezi. So I think, yeah. So SMS is hard to manage centrally, right? Like there are softwares out there. We use one to help with our technicians where we sit. Yeah, see, now it's over. Where we sit at a computer and we send out text messages to all of them, and they text us back, and we're able to have this conversation. I don't remember what it's called, but that's there. But it's hard to pull off, and texting would work if I had a good way to aggregate it in front of me. I was actually using a Twitter wall, like the one we have out there, to kind of aggregate any of those hashtags at me. And I had to use a Samsung Galaxy because, of course, iPads don't have Flash, which is what everything runs on. So, of course, they don't have Flash, right? Everyone knows what I'm talking about. It's my own personal problem, right? So, so text can work but you have to pay for these softwares. I like texting, though. I've not thought of that. That would be a good way to do it. Would people text in? Yeah, you guys would you text more than tweet? Yeah? See, right? Okay, see? Conversation, right? Better than the lecture, right? We're learning new things. I agree with you. I'll work on that.